We'll kick things off. This is the presentation version. Anyone who's been on one of my webinars before, I will give you the fair warning that we are going to cover a ton of content. The slides, the recording will all be uploaded into ACES, so you'll have access to the replay and the notes. I will, if you guys want to, we could take a few seconds if you guys want to drop LinkedIn's into the chat so everyone can connect with each other on here. I always like to open up the ability for people to connect, even if I'm the one presenting. So if you guys want to drop your LinkedIn's in the chat, that'll give everyone a chance to at least connect with each other on LinkedIn. And it gives you a chance to actually turn this into a little bit of networking, not just content. And what I'll do is anyone who's on, I'll make sure that you get the stack of LinkedIn's and the follow-up email as well, which will just go to the people who attended. Just so you guys, again, can connect with each other. Always want to make sure that that's available. If you have questions throughout, you can drop it in the chat. You can click the little raise the hand button. There will be plenty of time at the end. But like I said, I'm going to pack a lot of content in. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me a thumbs up when you guys see the PowerPoint pop up, just so I can make sure that you guys are seeing it. Okay, got a thumbs up from Kyle, so we'll call that good. Get the video out of the way here, get the chat open. All right, I see LinkedIn's going. Again, feel free to drop your LinkedIn's in there just so we can scrub all those and make sure everyone gets connected. Always like to do that when I can. All right, let's dive into some content. Let's have some fun. Today, we're going to talk about stop selling, start connecting. And really, this is the revenue side of the conversation. Often we talk about the networking relationship building side. This is the how the heck do we monetize the work we've been doing conversation. There's still going to be a lot on the relationship side, but I really want to hone in on the money and turning your efforts into profit. All right, who I am. I don't like to listen to people talk if I don't know who they are. A lot of you do know who I am, but I always like to include this for those of you who are new to my world. I am the author of Connection Expansion. You can grab the book on Amazon. The next slide will have a link so you can get a free copy as well. I host ACES Connection Group, which is our school community. It's built on 3 pillars: expert interviews, all of the education I provide, and our Connection Blitz meetings, which is a different way to network. If you're looking to network virtually, again, come hang out with us there. I've owned a variety of different businesses, from a marketing agency, co-working space, manufacturing company, did a stint in HR, and owned a cat cafe, which usually creates some fun conversations because that's the random business. I've worked with over 700 companies and done over 1,000 strategy sessions to help people scale, optimize, and figure out how to move forward. That's the quick about Devin. I'm going to drop 2 links in the chat for you. One is the link to the book. One is the link to ACES. So that link for the book will let you get a free copy. You also can go on Amazon if you'd like, and then the link to ACES is there as well. Please come hang out with us and experience what we have going on in that world. Those links are here as well. So QR code, I'm just going to leave it on the screen for a second in case you want to grab it on your phone, or for the replay, it's nice because at least it'll be on the screen. So we'll just pause for a second. So that's there. Again, it's in the chat. This is your second or third or fourth warning that I'm going to provide a whole lot of content coming soon. Again, if you've been on a previous webinar, I like to give you as much content as possible because I want to make sure that every single person listening and engaging with us has the opportunity to grab the 1, 2, or 3 different nuggets that apply to you and your business, given the current situation. There will be time again for Q&A, or if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'm happy to make it as custom as possible to everyone who's attending because I want to make sure you get value. This is today's conversation. Today's conversation is the revenue dilemma. This is feedback I hear, and so maybe some of these things will resonate with you. If they do, maybe you can just give me a thumbs up or drop something in the chat and just say yes if any of these things resonate with you. So, so many options and strategies when it comes to sales and marketing, but you're really not sure which one to choose, or you're just not seeing them work. Maybe you're making a lot of choices, you're spending a lot of money in a lot of places, but you're just not seeing the revenue come through. Maybe you're the best kept secret. Maybe you have a phenomenal product, a phenomenal team, but you're just not hitting those revenue numbers and revenue goals you're looking for. Maybe you're making a lot of referrals, but you're not receiving the amount that you feel is equitable given the work that you're putting in to refer others. Networking, but not getting results, right? So going to the meetings, but then they're not really going anywhere. Stack of business cards sitting on your desk or within reach, probably, and you haven't done something with them or don't really know how to follow up with them. A lot of emails, but no booked meetings. A lot of meetings, but no real results. A lot of connections, but nothing's coming from it. and whatever else may resonate with you. But these are the ones I hear often in meetings when I'm talking to people or working with clients. Do any of these resonate with anyone? Hands, thumbs, like, are there some struggles here? It's okay. It's a safe space. So I got Philip, David. I see you guys. I can't see everyone's video, so I see you guys. So I'm going to address all of these today and a lot more. And we're going to do things in a lot of different ways today because, again, I want you to be able to align with the pieces that make the most sense. But this is what I see as the revenue dilemma. And I think with AI and all of the innovation coming, overwhelm is becoming more and more. Like, you have so many more choices and so many more things that distract from the core mission of serving people with your product or service, right? That's the core mission and why we're all in business. Yet there's all of these other things we have to take into consideration. So today's takeaways, we're going to go back to basics to start. There's some fun foundational things I want to make sure are stated out loud. It might be very elementary for some of you, or there might be a couple nuggets in there. I'm going to provide a ton of tips, tricks, strategies. I'm going to teach you how to win in every meeting. That's a huge takeaway from today and something I want you to walk away with. I want you to overcome those challenges that were on the previous slides. We'll talk about a bunch of ideas around that, how to set you and if you have a sales team up for success, how to make it easy to do business with you, and then we're going to talk about the relationship journey. So again, lots of different directions to go, but I want to make sure there's something for everyone. The quote that's on the screen is the quote I want you to keep in mind, and if you have a Post-it note nearby, I do recommend, and anyone I work with, that you write this quote on the Post-it note and put it on your monitor. Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. We are all consumers. Like, we are all really good at spending money. So we don't need to force people into a sale. We need to make it easier for people to buy. It is a totally different framework to think about the client journey and the relationship journey. And so, like I said, if you have a Post-it note nearby, this is the one action item I recommend anyone does. And I do this with all of my clients. Like, make sure that you write that down and keep that in mind as we go through all the rest of the content. All right, perfect. So the next thing I want to talk about is what's your focus. I love this analogy. This is a great way, if you've never seen it, to think about business. Typically, it's a triangle, but I like the 4 version better. So you can typically do 2 of the 4 things for your business. Occasionally, you can try to gamify it in a different way, but it is a really interesting way to pick your lane. How are you going to build your business and build your offers? Bless you, whoever that was. First, you could be the cheapest, right? So you're going to compete on price. Walmart's obviously the #1 person for that. Second, you can be the fastest. You can compete on speed. So think Amazon Prime, quick delivery services, things that are very, very efficient. You could be the biggest, right? So you could be the 9 million pound gorilla. So McDonald's, Coca-Cola. I think Walmart checks this box as well. So this is where you could be in 2 lanes. Or you could be the best, right? So uncompromisable quality, service, prestige. So think Apple, Ritz-Carlton, very established high-end brands. It is near impossible to be all 4. And typically, if you are all 4, it confuses people because they're not sure what lane you're trying to be in, right? Are you trying to be the best but the cheapest? Okay, could be possible. But you have to have really interesting systems, right? Are you supposed to be the fastest but the best? Does that align? And so what I recommend is you think about either how to optimize for each or pick the 2 that resonate most with you and then build your offer stack and your service offerings around that. I personally like to provide the best quality service at the lowest price I can. That's the game I always try to play as an entrepreneur myself. Again, I can't advise you one way or the other, but for me, that's my goal, right? I want to give you as much value as I can at the lowest price possible. So best systems, best processes. And it also means that I have to have volume for that equation to work. Now, if you have a high ticket offer, you might be the best, but your price may match, and that might be your only focus is like, I want to deliver the best, deepest quality service, right? So really think about this with your business and then think about, does my marketing, does all the other stuff we're going to talk about today align with whatever one of these 4 or 2 of these 4 you're going to choose for your business? Are we good on that? Everyone have a quick idea? Perfect. Like I said, back to basics, but some things that I've liked over the years. The next thing is your offer stack. I see people go wrong here a lot, so I want to make sure I talk about this. This is more relevant in the service industry, but it applies to the product industry as well. What is your giveaway? What is your free offer? Is it a newsletter? Is it a book funnel? Is it a webinar? Is it an audit? Is it a community? Is it a free sample? How are we gathering people's contact information so that they are in our world and we can communicate with them, right? What is your thing? How are you going to let people engage with you? And so I like to use the trade show analogy here. I think everyone's probably walked through a trade show and met people. People mess up trade shows a lot because they don't have an offer stack. And so it's a very, very quick visual way to think about it. But what are you going to do to capture data, right? So it's the fish bowl at the trade show typically, although that's not super effective because it's not aligned with your product or service and they're just opting in because they want to win a prize. But you've got to have something you're willing to give away to capture data. Obviously, the first two links I shared with you, check the box, right? Here's my book. You can get it for free. And if you do, I'm going to get your data, although you're already on a webinar where I captured your data to be here. So that's number 3. And I invited you to a community where if you sign up, I capture your data too. So 3 different ways I'm inviting you into my world and you get an opportunity to raise your hand and I'm providing value in all of those circumstances. So what is your free offer? Next, what is your low ticket offer? How can you get people to spend a little bit of money, whatever that means for your business? If you have a really high ticket offer, a little bit could still be a lot, right? How do you get them to spend a little bit of money so that they cross the threshold to become clients? It is much, much easier to upsell clients and resell clients once they've already spent money with you and you've broken the money barrier. So what is your low ticket offer? What could your low ticket offer be? How could people experience what you offer in a very short way? Is it a workshop, right? Is it a one-off strategy session? How can they engage with you in a low ticket way? What is your core offer, right? That's the thing. Yes, that's what you're known for. That's what you sell. That's where you make the most money. That's the thing you're most proud of selling. And then what is your ascension offer? What is the craziest thing you could offer to the world that for the right price, you would still do it? You should have some sort of crazy offer. It also helps with price anchoring. So if you're trying to close someone on your core offer, it's always nice to have something above that so that I can tell you, yes, you can work with me privately for a year, one-on-one. I'll come in and help build your whole company. It's $100,000. And you either go, oh, that's amazing. Yes, let's do it. Or you're like, not a chance, right? So then when I go down and I say, hey, well, really, it's only 20 grand to play. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's more manageable. So the offer stack, again, back to basics, but I want to make sure you think about this. Do you have a free path to engage with you, a low ticket way for people to become clients, a core offer, and some crazy outlandish offer that you could anchor that's higher? So think about your offer stack. Maybe you don't need to adjust anything. Maybe there's a couple things here you could adjust. If you have a book and you're not doing some sort of book funnel, you're missing out because it's a great way to give away your content and get people's data. If you just sell your book on Amazon, you never get their contact information. Webinars are great. Communities are great. Obviously, you can see we check a lot of these boxes. And so you're welcome to steal anything we're doing if you think it's relevant and will work for what you're doing. Next is the ideal client. I won't spend a ton of time on this slide. I'm going to assume everyone here can more or less identify their ideal client. Where I want to talk about a couple things where I think people go wrong here. The first is the income revenue size to your offer value. I'm going to make this prediction, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to make it here, and it is recorded. I think that the high ticket world is becoming too high ticket, and I think that the market is reacting to it. And so I think that if your only offer is a high ticket offer, I would highly, highly caution you that we probably need to build some width in your offer because I'm seeing a lot of people with high ticket offers only really struggling to close deals right now. And some of that is they're targeting the wrong person, right? So I have a really good offer, but I'm targeting the wrong person who can't afford it or doesn't see the value in spending what the return on investment is. Really focus on the income side. I think that people get very stuck in this idea of like charging more, working with less clients, and then wondering why we're not closing deals. So again, if you have the low ticket and the other offers and you're doing that, then it may still work. But I want to highly caution that because I'm seeing a lot of people really struggling here and not willing to adapt and figure out like, well, where is the sweet spot with my perfect client and the perfect price? The other tip I would give you here is leverage AI. This is a great moment to go to AI and say, this is my exact ICP, help me build my ideal client profile. And you could just go in there and talk with AI about it. Once you get that defined, ask AI this question. How many people in my geographic market, if you're geographic restricted, are that ideal client profile. See what the number is. So Gary and I were working on one this morning, and I think the number was 3.9 million for the client that I was working with. Okay, that's a big enough demographic for the price point of the thing they're selling. And so then I went through and I said, okay, but here's the offer. And so this is the other side. The market size might be the 3.9 million. How many people of the 3.9 million can afford the $35,000 offer that this person was selling? All of a sudden, it turned into 5% of the 3.9 million. That's still a decent sized number, but what that means is your marketing and your sales efforts have to weed through 95% of the potential prospects to find the 5% to then close. I really need you to sit with what I just said, because I think this is a huge hurdle people are running into. The idea market profile is big enough, but you haven't validated that market size with how much of that market it can actually buy and or need your product or service. And if that is such a fraction of the ideal, it's going to make your marketing and sales efforts really hard, and you're going to have to create a machine that's going to weed through those people, which is fine, totally doable, right? Maybe we have to have setters, maybe we have to do lead gen, maybe we have to do webinars, we have to do bigger events to filter and screen people, because it's going to be hard to find that perfect fit. Drew, what was the follow-up you asked AI? Yeah, so after you get your ideal client, ask AI, how many people in the United States or in the geographic region match my ideal client profile? And then once it gives you that number, the follow-up question is, great, here's my offer and here's the price. How many people of those people do you think can afford my offer? And see what it says. Again, if there's a huge gap there, you're going to have to over-index your marketing, setting, screening to find the right clients, which means you have to do more work. If 1 million potential and it comes back and says, look, 900,000 of those people can afford it, well, great. Now all of a sudden we're going, okay, like we probably are going to have a higher success rate of closing because we're not going to have to weed through all the people who are unqualified. That's also why if you have a nice offer stack, which can hit people at different price points, it opens up your ability to close all these people you're coming into contact with. So again, I'm not going to go in all the weeds on the ideal client profile. There's good things you should think about here. If you go with AI, they'll ask more questions. But that's the tip I would recommend you for leveraging AI to figure out, are you really targeting the right person at the right price? And does that create a situation where you can actually win? The next recommendation I have, and again, this is all still just part of the kind of like back to basics things I want you to think about, is, are you listening? I think people struggle here in a lot of legacy businesses where you've been around a while. This is something that's more critical, but I think in a fast-moving era, you should be listening more than ever. So are you paying attention to the news and economy? And I don't mean power watching it and digesting all of it and getting caught up in it. I'm definitely not going to propose you do that. But are you paying attention enough to understand what's going on? Are you paying attention to what your prospects are saying? Are you listening to their pain points? Are you listening to their objections? Are you paying attention to your peers? Are you in some sort of industry circle or mastermind where you're seeing what's going on and understanding where other people might be seeing a shift in the economy, a shift in the buyer, a shift in mentality? Maybe they're adding something new. Are you paying attention to your industry as a whole? Are you paying attention to trends? Again, pay attention and listen. You cannot build whatever you're building in a silo and not pay attention, because if the market is getting soft or it's getting hard, you may have to adapt price point to fit, right? If your industry is super successful or the industry you're targeting, great, then maybe you could pad margins and make a little bit more because there's a lot of money moving through that industry. A lot of clients are working with right now, tariffs are still hitting them. And so they're still seeing some clients pull back. Great. Okay, so how do we adapt and how do we adjust? So really just ask yourself at least once a week, am I paying attention to something? And am I taking notes and really thinking about the feedback that I'm receiving? And am I willing and able to adapt to it? Right? Am I willing to make a pivot or a change when and if needed? So that's, I think, the end. Yes. So that's the end of the back to basics kind of slides. Any kind of questions on any of that stuff? Again, I just want to kind of get some foundational ideas to you guys. Anything that comes to mind yet? If you guys have questions, you could drop in the chat. I'm seeing people take notes, heads down. All right, looks like we're good. We'll just keep going on. Again, just keep dropping stuff in the chat. The next thing I want to talk about is the client journey. So this is where we're kind of pivoting to understanding how your client buys from you. These are screenshots from Google. If you just go Google the client journey, there's a million versions and ways to think about how a client is going to engage with you. This one on the top right is pretty interesting because it shows you during the awareness phase, all the things that impact that. During the consideration phase, what impacts that. During the purchase phase, what impacts that. And then retention and then advocacy. And then yes, for the AI questions, this is that slide if you want to take a screenshot of that. And then the questions will be in the transcript as well. So the client journey, you should think about it. And I think people get very stuck here though. And so I'm going to give you some key takeaways. The one thing I would tell you is it easy to do business with you? And I'll use a physical restaurant example, right? If you want to go to a new restaurant, what are your concerns, right? Price point, food, parking. Are they open? Like it's pretty common, right? Because you can put yourself in the consumer. And so if those are all true statements, then when I find your restaurant, I should see good reviews because that's going to validate if I should go there, even if someone referred me. I need to be able to click and instantly understand, are you open? How do I get to you? And what's your menu look like? If you can validate those three things when I'm interested in going to your restaurant, I'm probably game. And if it's easy for me to understand where to park and how to get into the front door so I can see the front door from parking and I feel comfortable now like I've already been, it's easy to go. Or are you making it hard, right? And so how does making it hard look like? Making it hard could be, are there weird restrictions? Is your contract so cumbersome that it becomes such a talking point when you're trying to get a deal done? Do you have all these weird qualifiers where like it's hard to determine if I can or can't work with you or how I work with you? Do I have to jump through 9 hurdles before we can get into an engagement? I can spend money? Like, do I have to sign the thing, book the thing, jump through the thing, do the thing? Like, how many touches and steps and things are you expecting someone to do? And how do we make that easier the whole time? That's how I want you to think about business. How do we make it easier to do business with you? Often I get in with people and we end up eliminating 10 to 12 steps in the client journey that make it easier for people to do business with you. Another good example of this is, do you have a calendar link so it's easy to get on your calendar? Or are you still forcing me to pick up the phone or go back and forth with you in an email to try to find a time to meet you? That's easy. Technology solved that one, right? Let's make it easy to do business with you. So here's things I think you should think about when it comes to the client journey. The first is your message clear? Let's get back to the elevator pitch. I think they get too fancy. And I often hear this, and we do a lot of networking, so I get to hear a lot of elevator pitches. Your elevator pitch, and when you're meeting with someone, you need to address this. I help who, do, what, and how. I help who, do, what, and how. If you can't tell me that in one sentence, you don't have clarity in your own business. How can you expect someone to want to buy from you, right? If you don't have clarity in who you help and what you do with them and how you do it, clearly, how can you expect the consumer to be able to buy from you if you don't have that level of clarity? Yet often I hear this as a problem. Well, I help, and then already on the who, we're trying to identify 9 different client types. Do what? I'm already trying to talk to you about 9 different offers that I have. And how? Well, you could go this way, that way, this way, or this way, or that way, or this way. So there's 14 ways to enter your world. That confusion stops the buyer, right? You've made it really hard to buy. So what I recommend is find a common entry point for everyone you serve and boil it down to I help who, do what, and how. If you can say that, it's going to unlock a lot of success in your meetings and your networking and how you're talking. Now, if someone asks a follow-up question and you need to go deeper, this is where you insert the why, right? So what? I help professionals do what? Network in a different way virtually by providing a place that they can do it. Really at the core, that's what we do, right? Or I help businesses and professionals get unstuck through 2-hour strategy sessions very quick. Why is that important? Well, because I want you to expand your network so you can make more money. I want you to get unstuck so you can move forward and have the impact you want to have. That's it. That's all you need to be able to talk about. So if we can't boil it down that simple, definitely should be something that you focus on because I feel and I hear a lot of that. And typically, if we get this dialed in, it unlocks a lot of the other things in the business. Looking at the client journey, some things that I would recommend you think about is, do you have a pipeline that's aligned with your client journey? So do you understand that the moments in your client's journey? It might be meet them, they buy. Great, right? That's the product transaction typically. But even there, they're usually validating, is it the right fit? Is it the right value? And doing some comparison. How many people do you need in your pipeline to be able to close the right number of deals to hit your metrics? Have you ever done the KPIs, the key performance indicator process backwards? So if you set a goal of this year, I want to generate 120,000 in revenue or 250,000 in revenue, great. How many clients is that? That should be easy based on your core offer, right? This many clients, great. How many people do you need to meet? So what's your close ratio? If it's 25%, you need to meet 4 times more than that. Okay, so if I need to meet 4 times more than that, how then do I build a marketing, sales, and outreach process that puts me in front of that many people? Like, have you done the math to understand the work you need to do to hit the revenue goals that you actually set? And if not, again, that might be the moment, the thing you have to dig into. Again, I know I'm giving you guys a lot, but I want you to grab the couple things that resonate best with you where you're at. Do you know when marketing transitions to sales, transitions to onboarding? Again, if it's you as a solopreneur, there's still moments where the conversation is shifting, right? They're shifting from marketing, which is figuring out if they like you and trust you, to some sort of buying cycle where we're engaging and validating and negotiating and creating alignment, to some sort of onboarding where we're invoicing, collecting payment, and onboarding the client. Do you understand the moments? If you have a team, does your team understand when marketing hands off to sales, when sales hands off to the back end team and support, and when those people take over? That might be something that if we just fix that little thing, we could unlock a lot. Other things to think about. Do you have a quick list of frequently asked questions? Like, are you very clear on the questions that your prospects ask you again and again and again? AI makes this very easy. Attach Fathom to your meetings, right? Shove it into AI and say, tell me all the questions they asked, and just do that for every one of your sales meetings. I promise you're going to have a great FAQ list. But you want the FAQ list because it allows you to adjust your marketing, your proposal, your sales education, the webinar, all the things you're doing based on what people are asking. And so you can eliminate these questions, which again makes it easier to buy. If someone comes into the closing meeting with you and they have no questions because you've already given them all the information, the ability for them to swipe their card is so much easier. The should ask questions is a very interesting thing and activity for you to think about. The should ask questions look at what are the questions someone should ask you that instantly positions you to be the right choice. That goes back to the 4 directions you could go, right? If you're the best, then you want them to ask questions about that. Like, how do you differentiate from the competition? Or why would I spend this much money with you? You want them to ask that question, right? Because you want to validate, well, we built the best system. We have the best case studies. We've worked with the most volume, whatever it is. So what are the questions someone should ask you? And I like to use those in the marketing and the follow-up touches because, again, you're prepping people's mind to go, okay, let me engage with you and let me ask those questions. And then what are the objections? What are the clear moments and sticking points where you've had sales meetings, but you're just not closing the deals? Why? You've got to ask why. 100% of the time when someone's like, Devin, I'm not moving forward with you, I always love to go, hey, look, can I ask you why? Like, where did I fail? Is it price point? Is it timing? Like, let me understand why you're not buying so that I can either adapt my product or adapt my marketing, because maybe I keep attracting the wrong people, or maybe I have a lot of the right people, but again, the offer's wrong. You've got to dig into the objections. So that's my kind of a lot more than 2 cents on the client journey. But again, hopefully there's some takeaways and some ideas for you as you think through the client journey. I'll pause there with this on the screen, but any questions about the client journey? There's some nuggets and takeaways there for everybody? I'm seeing some head nods from the people's videos I can see. All right, I see everyone taking notes, so we must be doing good so far. So, all right, let's talk about winning every meeting. So we're going to make a quick transition. And again, just going to keep piling stuff in and you guys can figure out what makes the most sense for you. So this is where I see a lot of people go wrong, and I hear this feedback a lot, is, look, I'm having a lot of meetings, but I'm just not getting anything out of them. I really want to plant this idea that it is possible to win and see value and get success in every single meeting you're in, every networking meeting, every prospect meeting, every coffee meeting, every sales meeting. You can win in all of them. But the way we win in all of them is we reset the expectations. And so we reset the expectations for ourselves. All of these things on the screen are outcomes that could happen during a meeting. Yes, we want to determine in any of those meetings if someone's a qualified prospect. Great. Like, we're in the business of money. Like, you have to generate revenue. But they could refer you, right? So that's referring you to prospects. They could make connections, which is opening doors to strategic partners and other opportunities. Maybe they could invite you to speak or open a door for you to speak on a stage in a room full of referral partners or ideal clients. Maybe they invite you to a podcast, or there's a way for you guys to do a LinkedIn Live or create content together. Maybe the best takeaway is they gave you amazing advice on your target industry, geography, demographic, ideal client profile. Maybe they gave you a source of knowledge, a source of wisdom, a piece of advice that unlocks something for you. Maybe it's just a new social connection. You can connect on LinkedIn and now you're seeing each other's content and creating some raving fans over time. Or maybe they're willing to take a selfie and do the little picture with the thing in the background. Or if you're in person, take a picture together and tag a selfie together. So now you get some social promotion to each other's networks. Maybe you come up with the opportunity to joint venture. Maybe an integrated offer where they actually add your offer into their offer or vice versa. Maybe you just find a service provider that's an amazing service provider for your network and your clients. Maybe you just become friends. Maybe you just find someone that you genuinely like. We all need friends, right? So maybe that's what comes out of the meeting. Maybe you find someone who's part of your inner circle. They're a mentor, someone you pay. Maybe there's someone that wants to be part of your inner circle because they believe in you more than anyone and they want to be a champion for you. All of these things are possible ways to win every meeting you're in. Yet so often we get stuck in this idea that I go network to find prospects, I have coffee meetings to find prospects, I then move prospects through sales cycle, I close deals or I don't. Well, what happened to all of the other opportunity? Like, why did you miss all the other opportunity? Yet in marketing and sales, that's the biggest problem, is we're so focused that we're missing all this other opportunity. So I want you to challenge yourself. How can I provide value in every meeting so the person I'm meeting with wins, right? Because if we help them win, that's great. And how do I get value out of this meeting? You've got to ask enough questions. You have to be curious enough and creative enough to figure that out. This is where I spend so much time with people because I want to make sure every meeting you're having should unlock something. And if it's not, we've got to figure out why, right? This is how we play the game smart so that we can open up everything. And so we're not just feeling like we're getting exhausted and burnt out, and we're actually being able to convert and get revenue out of everything we're doing. So on that list, grab a couple other things, think about a few things that maybe you're missing in previous meetings, and let's just help you win meetings. Like, if that's all you take away today, great, phenomenal. All right, now we're going to go through those objections list. I'm going to outline each one with what the objection or challenge is and some just random quick fire rapid tips and tricks to overcome them. So if one of these relates with you, maybe pay attention for that one. If it doesn't, no worries, refill your coffee and we'll just keep going. So the first one, I'd like to share this example, same people, different results. I send a 3-week check-in. Many of you who have received connections from me have received that email that says, hey, Philip, checking in on those connections. How were they? Because I'm looking for feedback. Often, the message that comes back sounds something like this. I met with Bob, Joe, and Amy. Phenomenal people, great conversations, but they didn't need my product or service. They didn't make any connections for me. And that's kind of the end of the conversation with those 3 people. In this one example, it was actually Bob, Joe, and Amy. And those same 3 people referred me to 15 people, 3 podcast invites, 1 event, and 1 paying customer. Same 3 people. The same 3 people. In the 15 referrals, I didn't even dig into the weeds on what those became, right? How many people did they open to, what doors, what pie? This is just the 3 people. Well, how did that happen? Well, I'm going to talk to you about the relationship journey. We just used the connection expansion system, which I did a webinar on last month, and we went very deep on that. But this is the win every meeting, right? Like if your answer to those 3 people are, they're great, good conversation, no next steps, whose responsibility is that? Like who dropped the ball? Like you've got to take ownership of that and go, man, I got to show up for those meetings different because I got to win every meeting. Like I refuse to lose, right? I'm going to win every meeting because I want you, when I send this check-in email, to go, oh my gosh, I'm doing this podcast, I'm doing this event, I'm doing this thing. We become best friends. We're going to San Diego together. We're doing all the, whatever it is. That's what I want for you, right? So let's unlock that. All right, too many options. Anyone? Like show of hands. Does anyone just feel a little overwhelmed with all of the decisions and things you have to buy and marketing and sales tactics and just stuff? Like I feel it. Like I'm in the space that I feel it, right? I really think that there's so many options and things happening that we're now either chasing the shiny object, which is the bottom part. It's the last bullet point on here. So we're chasing the thing we think will unlock success. It's going to unlock the business. It's going to unlock the deal. It's going to unlock the revenue. If that's you, I'm sorry. It's highly likely nothing's going to magically unlock it. Now, it may make it easier. It may increase a piece of it, but I've yet to see the one thing that just unlocks total success. Usually it's a lot of little things put together. Another thing I would challenge you on is just to book more meetings. I think we spend so much time on optimizing our ads, optimizing our funnel, doing the busy work, maybe being a creator, because that's what we like to do, especially in the entrepreneurship world. I really think you need to book more meetings. So if you look at your calendar and you're overwhelmed with options, book more meetings. Like that would be my first piece of advice. Now, if you've booked a lot of meetings and you're not converting, we're going to talk about that. But if this is your challenge where you're feeling overwhelmed, book some meetings and get really hyper focused on sharing your message with the world so that we can get direct feedback and figure out where to go. The other part of this is make decisions that align with this equation. Visibility plus credibility equals profitability. So are you and is your brand visible? Right? Are you on social media? Are you posting content? Are you speaking? Are you creating content? Are you on podcasts? Are you visible? Can people find you and understand who you are, what you do? Are you visible? Are you credible? So, do you have a book? Do you have testimonials? Do you have reviews? Do you have case studies? Are you speaking and creating content? Are there people raving about you? If you just do those two things, profitability has to follow. Has to follow. So if you're making decisions on products and services and things to buy, make the decision on, does this make me more visible? Does it make me more credible? If it does those two things, okay, maybe we should explore it after we have a full calendar and we book more meetings. Because I'm always going to tell you to just book more meetings. We can win if we are in meetings. If we're not booking meetings, it's really hard to win because we're making a lot of assumptions without real-time feedback. Track the ROI. Anything you spend money on, I need you to track the return on investment. Are you making the money back based on what you're investing? Are you making the money back based on what you're investing? And do you understand it, right? So if you're paying for lead gen, how many leads are you getting? How many are you closing? Are you getting your money back? Like desperately, definitely focus on that. That's the ROI side. And then last but not least, again, if you catch yourself, and it's totally okay to admit it, hoping that the next piece of advice, the next thing you buy is going to unlock everything, it's usually not that simple. And so I want you to really find the few things and unlock them, but never go all in on one and hope it works. And I do see this. I see companies where it's like, I'm going to spend all of my money on this paid ad campaign. That's going to do it. But then you ignore everything else. Like that's not a good business bet. Make sure that you're diversifying your investments in business, right? Meaning your marketing and sales investments so that you're capitalizing on the return. So if you have too many options, there's some tips. My number one tip on too many options is just book more meetings. Like crack the formula to get more people on your calendar. If this is you, I like to call this the neon sign in the basement analogy, which is an AI did a decent job giving me this. If you feel like you are the best and looking around, there are some amazing people on here. So there are a lot of you who are absolutely crushing it. If you feel like you're the best kept secret and you're just not generating revenue, then what I would recommend is you get back to focusing on one of our core principles, control what you can control. Put yourself in situations to meet as many people as fast as you can. If you are the best kept secret, you need to be in more rooms. What do those rooms look like? Networking, come to a Blitz meeting. I will tell people you're amazing. I will get you connected to people. We will get people on your calendar. but go network somewhere. Go to trade shows. Spend money to be at a trade show. Pay to be in a room full of prospects so that you can figure out your pitch. You can figure out the problems. You can build a funnel quickly in a 3-day investment. And yeah, you got some skin in the game, so there's some pressure. Find a way to speak. Find stages, masterminds, communities, places you can guest, places you can speak. If you're the best kept secret, you've got to get out in the world. You've got to get out in the world. Yes, paid ads can drive leads. Yes, social content can do it, but you physically need to go engage with the world, right? So again, virtual networking, show up to the meeting, but otherwise go put yourself in rooms full of people. So if you're the best kept secret and you're not putting yourself in rooms full of people, that is your action item. And my kind of note here is even if you're not the best salesperson in the world, which I can make you, even if you think you're not, I guarantee you we can get you to close deals. Do not outsource the selling in your company or try to hire a sales team until you validated your ability to close deals. I just need people to hear me on this one because I usually get brought in after you fired your 14th salesperson and after you've dropped six figures in problems. And now you're going, well, I invested all that, nothing happened. Okay, well, did you validate yourself that you're selling the right thing to the right people and you know how to sell it? Because if you haven't figured that out yourself as the person running the ship, it's really hard to outsource that and get it to align properly. So you've got to prove it a little bit yourself. Even if you just prove a little, then yes, we can hire and scale and outsource it, but make sure you validate it first. I do see a lot of people go sideways there too. So for the best kept secret, quick action, number one thing, put yourself in rooms of more people. All right. Making referrals, this one's a common one too. If you feel like you're the person in the relationships where you're the one making all the referrals, right? You're teeing people up and you're not receiving, we've got to crack that code, right? Because congratulations on being the one making the referrals. That's great. Like, please don't stop. But we have to make it easier for you to get the referrals back because I don't want you to lose. So the biggest advice on this, if this is your challenge, is we have to shift your ask. And what I mean by shifting our ask is we have to ask for things that are strategic. If you've ever been on a blitz, this is what I tell you on every blitz and why the blitz works, right? Is what are the referral partners or strategic connections that can be made to you today that unlock the ability for people to refer you? If you're just asking people for clients or prospects, you're creating too many barriers. Hey, Kyle, I want you to refer me to this person. Now, Kyle has to go in his network and he has to go, okay, I think I understand who that person is. Now I have to hope that that person has the right budget in the right moment, the right time to buy Devin's thing. Like, did you guys just hear how much friction is involved in the one ask I just made? Versus if I say, hey, I want to meet mastermind coaches or hosts or community hosts. Great. Instantly, you know, okay, I know a few people like that. I can connect. There's no friction because it's strategic. We can make momentum. So if you're stuck, but you're not educating your person you're talking to on that win every meeting list with all the other things they could do to help you, that's probably why the relationship's sideways. That's probably why it's not reciprocating. The other thing I would tell you is how you're following up probably impacts this too. In your quick meeting follow-up, you've got to set expectations. Hey, Runa, it was so great meeting with you. I am going to make connections for you. You mentioned a few people you're going to connect me with in the email. Let's hold everyone accountable. I'm going to do my part. You do your part. And even if you don't, no worries. 3 weeks from now, I'm going to send you the check-in email, which is going to guilt trip you into doing your part. Because I'm going to ask the question, how were the introductions I made? You're going to go, oh, they were great. And then you're going to go, I do owe you stuff. Great. At some point, as long as we reciprocate, it's great. And even if you don't, I'm going to continue to walk you down the path to set you up to succeed to help me, right? And I'm going to make sure we nurture you long-term. Many of you receive our nurture emails. Some of you receive my nurture email 100+ times because we're going to check in and we're always going to nurture. So if you're making referrals and not receiving, the ask would be the first thing to pay attention to. How you follow up may have an impact on that to balance the scales for you. Networking, but no results. If this is you, so if you feel like you're the guy person going to every single networking event and just not getting anything, here's some tips. When networking, your only goal is to meet people and get their contact information. We need to get networking back to simplified. So you're on a Zoom meeting right now. What you should have done already, because why not use this as a networking opportunity, is one, there's LinkedIn's in the chat that you could have been grabbing and connecting with. 2, you could take a screenshot of the attendee list, So now you could go connect and follow up with everyone after. And 3, I would take a screenshot of everyone's videos so that when you're trying to figure out if this person is the right person on LinkedIn, you can look at the photo and you can match people up. Hint, that's the last tip on the slide too. But every single virtual meeting I'm on, that's the first thing I do. I'm sitting here taking screenshots of everything so that I can control my ability to follow up. Nobody's good at follow up. And if anyone follows up with you, they're probably following up to sell you something, not build a relationship. You have to control the follow-up. So when you're networking, your only goal, meet people, get their contact information. That's it. That is networking simplified. If you're giving out a lot of business cards and you're not getting it, fix that. If you're going to an event and you're hijacking your time by talking to one person and not working your way around the room, fix that. If you're on a virtual meeting and you're not taking screenshots, get the data so that you can follow up. You've got to take control of this process and not hope that others are going to help you succeed. At the end of the day, it is your business. It is your bank account, right? So we've got to take control. We've got to gamify this in a way that we can win. How are you following up is the other side of this. If you're going to invest time to network and you're going to go to a networking meeting, you have to time block the next day so you have time to follow up from the meeting, time to get through the business cards, time to get through the contact information you gathered. And you can do all this with scripted emails. If you go in ACES, you click on the connection expansion course, all of our email templates are in there. You don't need to invent the wheel. I literally send you the same email. I don't care who you are. You're going to get the same email from me. So we just systematize it. So I don't have to think about, okay, when I'm following up with Kyle, I've got to send him a different email. When I'm following up with Dean, I got to give someone else. When I'm following up with Dennis, it's got to be different. No. It's the same follow-up. It's the same email because it allows me to just create the momentum and check the boxes and get through the process. So if you're networking without results, control the 2 easy parts. Meet people, get the contact info. Number 3 is follow up, which again, you got to hold yourself accountable to, but we can gamify that and make it easier for you. If you have a stack of business cards or contact info or screenshots that you just haven't taken action on, let's see a show of hands. Anyone have business cards sitting somewhere they haven't done anything with? Yeah, I know Kyle does. But for real, we all, and I'm guilty. Yeah, he's got it there. Heidi's got the hand up too. Yeah, so I 100%, right? Like I'm just as guilty, right? And I have to force myself to push people through the follow-up process because we all get busy, right? If you have this is the things I would recommend. 1, there's value in every relationship. You don't need to determine if the business card in front of you is the next client or try to assume what the value is. You don't need to determine it. Just follow up with everyone exactly the same because there is value in every relationship. That instantly unlocks your ability to follow up without having to worry about how and why and when. You also probably at this point need to have a process. And if you don't have a CRM, customer relationship management tool, you probably need one. Like if you're going to go out there and network and build a business, we need to manage relationships. And so you need some system to do it in. An Excel sheet works for a while. But after that, you're going to need a CRM. Here is my process. I put you in the CRM. So your name, your email, whatever data I have. Sometimes I don't have that. If I just was on a virtual meeting, it might just be your name, your LinkedIn, and whatever contact info I can scrub from your website and LinkedIn. And sometimes that's nothing. Sometimes I can't find your email. At least I'm putting you in there and I can message you on LinkedIn. I'm going to connect with you on social platforms, whatever social platforms you engage on. I'm on all of them except X if you want to connect with me. But typically I'm connecting with you on LinkedIn because that's where we're building professional relationships. I send you a simple email, which again, that script is in ACES. I'm going to follow up with you 4 times, and then I'm going to move you to my nurture process. Every single contact, no matter who you are, goes through this exact same process, and I don't have to think about it. The other reason we do it this way is a VA, virtual assistant, can also do all of this for you, because if you don't have to think about it, they don't have to think about it, right? I don't have to tell you, oh, I really like that you were wearing that Bears socks when we were golfing. Sorry that you're a Bears fan, but I don't have to mention that to create alignment, right? Like I can just send you the template. So build a checklist process for follow-up, check the boxes, move people through it, stop overthinking it. That's how you'll unlock the business card problem. Can't book meetings. This may be something you resonate with where maybe you're doing a lot of the stuff we talked about. Maybe you're sending the emails, but you're just not getting people to book meetings with you. So if that's true, then I get back to the Stop Selling, Start Connecting, which is today's title. But you also could put the Everybody Wants to Buy Post-it note on your monitor to remind you to stop selling because that's probably the problem. The second problem is use a calendar link. Like again, if you're not giving someone a calendar link to book with you in 2025, like again, that should be low-hanging fruit. Like let's use a calendar link. Let's make it easy to book. If someone gives you their calendar link, book, get on it. It's easy. Let's not create tension. Just either way, let's get to a meeting because that's our goal. Again, I put that in there. Don't force them onto your link unless you're busy and you can. So if you're so busy that you can force people onto your link and be okay if people don't book, great, no worries. I do that sometimes where I'm like, look, you can build mine. That's the way we're going to do it. But typically, I'm just going to take the path of least resistance. Don't refuse to use a link. I actually refuse to take a meeting with someone because they're like, I will not use your link. We are going to go back and forth in email. Fantastic. I am not going to do that with you. I'm just not. Like, you are not worth my time because that tells me you disrespect my time if that is how you want to continue. Like, I value my time too much. I'm sorry. Like, it's just a boundary, right? Your goal is not to sell them or pitch yourself at first. Also, your email signature, be very, very wary of your email signature. If your email signature is providing value, here's links and ways to engage with me, great. If your email signature is, we're the #1 and we work with this many people and we do all of these things and here's 19 testimonials, your email signature should probably get dumbed down because you're probably overselling in your email signature, which will eliminate people's willingness to book meetings with you. It's fact. Fact. I've worked with tons of clients and I've proven that the simpler we get our email signature and we just focus on good data, it's easier to book. Don't sell. This is the exact template we use. You can screenshot it right now if you want. Again, the slides will be available. The script is in ACES as well. But what you'll notice about this script is, I hope you're doing well and you're having a great day. So we always set positive intention. I met you at clarity in the meeting. I enjoyed learning about you and your business. I'd love to set up time to learn more about you and what you do so I can better refer people to you. Here's a link to my calendar. I look forward to meeting with you, always in assumptive close. If you're not using assumptive closes in all of your emails, that's another tip you guys could use. Every email, whatever you want action for them to take should be your assumptive close. I look forward to hearing back from you if you're looking for a response. I look forward to meeting with you if you're trying to book a meeting. I look forward to working with you if you're trying to close a deal, right? Always an assumptive close on what you assume the next step is so that you are setting the intention. So hopefully that works. All right, that's the Can't Book Meetings. Again, I'm just dropping each one. So if one of these resonates with you guys, can pick up whatever works for you. So endless meetings. This is another one where people you feel this all the time, right? So like you've got a full calendar, but you're just not closing the deals. The first thing I'd say is the win every meeting, right? So make sure that you're setting up the intention so that when we're in these meetings, we can actually win. The second thing would be going back to, is your message clear? Like, do people fully, very quickly, clearly understand who you serve, what you do, and how you do it? Like, if they don't, it's really hard to win in meetings because you're not helping the other person help you. What is your goal in the meeting? So again, that goes back to the win every meeting. How much are you talking? Like, this is so weird for me when I do webinars because I just sit here and talk to you the whole time. And in connection meetings, I never talk. Like, I just ask questions and I listen and I take notes. So it should be 80% of the time the other person talking in any meeting you're on. That's a coffee meeting, a first meeting, or a sales meeting. It should be the other person talking and you asking questions. Make sure you can add value. That's something that I always try to encourage people because you can control that part. So even if you have a crappy meeting or you feel like you stumbled through it, as long as I can make connections, provide resources, or solve problems, I can unlock part of the equation for that meeting. And then align your ask with your network. So make sure that, again, that ask is big enough that they can open the door for you. And then make sure you control it and be able to handle objections. That gets a little more technical, but that would be my recommendations on those meetings. We've kind of hit enough of that already up to this point, but want to hit that. Connections, but no revenue. You have a big network of a lot of people in your CRM, your phone, whatever it is. Just get people in the connection meetings and focus on them. We've really got to switch the game so that your network understands that, or invite people to an educational opportunity, do a webinar like we're on today, host a networking meeting or a happy hour if you want to do it in person, or find ways to wow your network. So if you have a lot of connections, find ways to wow your network, like drop people birthday cards. If you meet people and they mention that they like certain cars, buy a Hot Wheel and send it to them that matches that car. Like, do little crazy things that get people to engage with you and be like, damn, I remember that person. Those are my tips for connections. So if you have a lot of connections, there's a couple of paths there you could choose. All right, I'm going to go super fast through the relationship journey because this is a recap. So this is what we covered in the last webinar on the connection expansion system. But again, I'm trying to make sure that you have enough places to play and nuggets and opportunities. So the relationship journey takes people out of the client journey, and it's how we nurture everybody until they raise their hand to become part of the client journey, right? Typically, they're going to go through some process like this. They're going to network, you're going to follow up, you're going to end up in some sort of meeting, you're going to add value, you're going to check in, and you're going to nurture. That's as simple as we keep it. I'm going to give you some quick tips on each step, again, so you have it. Number one, when networking, I think we already hit this one. Like, I think we already talked about ways to win in networking. But again, meet people, get their contact information. If you struggle at networking, have a set of questions that you ask so you know how to enter and exit a conversation. If virtual, take the screenshots. Make sure you have exit language. So if it's physical, I like to use the, hey, have you met, and introduce them to someone you just met so you can get out of the conversation and move to the next person. If it's virtual, sometimes you don't have that ability. Like, people take over meetings and they pitch. Like, again, take the screenshot, do what you got to do. And if you really hate networking, like if you're like, Devin, I just despise it, first come do a blitz and let me try to win you over with the way we do it. Second, go network around your hobbies. Kyle's a great example of this with his birdies in business. So in the Reno market, he hosts an event around golf and business. He controls it. He invites people in. That makes networking easy because he gets to golf and meet people, right? So find a way to pull your hobby and interests into your ability to network. So there's some tips on networking. How to follow up, use the script, follow up 4 times, move into your nurture process. We already talked about this, the scripts and aces. Make sure you have time blocked and you're following up. In the first meeting, this is key. Here's some other things we haven't talked about in this first meeting. If it's virtual, it should be 30-minute max. I personally do 15-minute first meetings when doing them virtually, and I'm just as effective as if I do a 30-minute meeting. In person, you've really got to kind of do a 60-minute meeting because you got to deal with parking, ordering the drink, finding the table, sitting down. There's a lot of variables that eat up the time for you to actually meet. Your goals when the meeting, you should be able to edify, endorse, and explain. So I need to edify why you're an amazing human, endorse what you're able to do as a service provider, and explain to the person I'm introducing to you why you two need to meet. I need to be able to understand who to connect you with, so I need to ask enough questions to do that. I need to determine if you're a prospect, so I need to ask enough questions that determines, can I help you or serve you in some way? And I need to understand who you likely can connect me with or where the value proposition is, right, to win every meeting. I need to know enough so I can help you help me. I always want you to take control of the meeting, so always ask the first question. If it's virtual, always just ask location. Where do you live? If it's in person, find a way to take control. So usually it's like something that's going on, or, hey, remind me what you do, or I like your shirt. Say something to pull the conversation in and then take control, because you want to ask the questions and you want to control the meeting. How the meeting should flow. I have a whole video on this as well. And we went deep on this, but I'm just giving you the question flow here so you have it. What do they do? Who do they serve? That's the first part of the meeting. Second part is going back in history. How do they get here? What's their story? The next part is where are they going? So have them goal set, dream set with you. The next is what are their challenges? And last but not least, how can you help them, or who's the best referral partner so you can make the connections so that you can actually follow up. Always set expectations at the end of the meeting. Hey, it was great meeting with you. Based on today's meeting, here's what I expect, or you expect, or what we're going to do. Never just leave the meeting, right? It was great. You said you're going to make 3 connections. I'm going to make a few connections. You asked about my service. Whatever it is, clear expectations at the end. So that's your first meeting. Adding value. Again, this is all repetitive, but I felt like it needed to be in here for those of you who haven't heard all of our other content. You've got to send a recap email following that meeting. Provide the wow touch if possible. Again, that's the listen for something they like and send them something. AI can help you here. So if you hear that they like crocheting, you can go into AI and say, hey, find me 3 podcasts on crocheting. They're going to give you 3 podcasts. You can share the 3 podcast links and say, hey, I found these podcasts on whatever your interest is. Thought you might enjoy them. No one does that. That's a very unique touch, right? So it's memorable, right? You're providing value instantly in your follow-up email. And the more value we provide, the faster in a relationship, the easier it is to close deals and get things in return. Always make 3 connections. If you struggle with that, the connection expansion exercise, which we have ample videos on, will unlock the ability for you to make connections. Connection follow-up. 3 weeks later, this is the email I send. Checking in about connections. I hope you're doing well. You're having a great day. I wanted to check in with you to see if you're able to connect with any of the people I introduced you to. If so, how have those conversations been? I look forward to hearing back from you. Again, assumptive close. If they respond, conversation's open, right? Now you have a chance to have dialogue. It also guilt trips them into following up on the things they said they would do, but they didn't, because that happens a lot. But now you've, again, given yourself permission to follow up and you've held them accountable. Long-term nurturing. Every 6 weeks, we send you the same email. Again, if you're in our funnel, you receive it until you tell me to never email you again. And half the time I still check in with you anyways, because I care about you. But this is the email template we send. Checking in, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well and have a great day. It's been a while since we last connected. I want to check in, see how you're doing, blah, 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 blah. Many of you received this email. If you haven't, hint, you're going to receive this email at some point. When you reply to this email, it creates a chance for us to have a conversation, right? You're probably going to tell me something amazing that happened in your life or something you're struggling with. If it's a struggle, I can make connections and provide resources and add more value. Typically, at the end of this email, you're going to say, Devin, what's new with you? Guess what? I can now answer in a way that says, hey, I'm super excited. The DACE is at over 550 members. So that's a soft invite. You should come hang out with us. I just added more Connection Blitz meetings so that we're doing better networking. Here's a link in case you want to see the schedule. So now I've invited you to that without inviting you. And I'm booking a ton of strategy sessions as we head into Q4, looking at Q1, because it's that time of year where we want to solve problems and unlock challenges. In my very honest answer, without pitching you, I've given you 3 ways to engage with me or refer people to me. All replying to a check-in email. That's what we're trying to accomplish, is a way to re-engage or invite you back into a meeting. All right, here comes the 2 super ninja tips, and then we're done. Selling behind the person in front of you. This is the ninja tip number 1 that I teach all the time. And if you're not using it, you should for sure use it. When I'm in a connection meeting, how do I convert and get people to buy, which happens a lot. When people ask, right, I go through the 5 questions, there's a little bit of time left. And at the very end, you're going to ask me questions, right? Phil's going to go, hey, Devin, tell me what you do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer exactly with the person in front of me. And so I'm going to say, we'll use Kyle as an example, just because I'll keep picking on him because he's here. Kyle, you know what I do? I work with sales professionals who eat, breathe, and sleep from sales. Like they've got to sell for a living. And I help them network in a different way and close more deals so that they can increase revenue and get more out of the efforts that they're doing. Now, what Kyle's doing is going, cool, dickhead. I just got done telling you that that's exactly what I do. Like, were you not listening to me for the last 80% of the meeting? That's what's actually happening in the head when you answer in a way that aligns with the person in front of you. What's happening psychology-wise is if they need your product or service, which you're positioning for, they will raise their hand. They're going to go, well, wait a second. It sounds like you might be able to help me. Or it sounds like it might be a fit for what I do. This moment is the ninja moment in every meeting where you can test if the person you're talking to needs and wants what you're offering. But many people miss this moment because you go back to your elevator pitch, you just repeat it the exact same way that you're used to repeating it, instead of positioning it in a way that aligns with the person in front of you. We want them to have that ego moment. I want to trip the ego where they go, were you not just listening? Like, I just told you that's who I am and what I do. We want that. We need that fire. We need that to trigger, because that's the moment where it creates the opportunity, or it doesn't. If it doesn't, no worries. They likely know people that look, smell, and feel exactly like them. So now it's easy for them to refer me when and if they come across somebody. You've got to perfect this moment. This moment unlocks so much revenue if done right, because it trips that ego. And yeah, I use dickhead. Like, I'm pretty blunt, but that, like, I want people to have that ego flash where they're like, oh, because that, again, creates the emotion so we can actually sell to people. If they raise their hand and you're selling consultative services that are complex, here is how I get people to buy very, very quickly in a short amount of time. And if you don't do this, I highly recommend it. If on the previous slide, someone says, hey, Devin, it sounds like you might be able to help me, or it sounds like I might be a fit for what you do, then typically I'm going to walk you through this path. You might be, can I ask you a bunch of questions to make sure? What are you going to say? No, you just told me that you're interested, right? You're going to go, yeah, you're going to go, sure, that's fine. Great. I literally rapid fire these. And these questions are all built around the things I need to know so that I can properly sell to you and determine, is it the right timing? Do you have the budget? Do you have the big enough pain point? Are there any barriers, like non-negotiable? You use a software that I can't integrate with, or you're in an industry I can't sell to, or there's something I don't know, your credit's low if I'm in a credit-based industry, whatever it is, right? I got to know the qualifiers. And I will literally run down 10 to 15 questions. Great. In my case, right, who's your target client? Who's your best strategic partner? What kind of deals are you closing? What's your offer stack? What's your price point? Whatever it is, I'm going to ask a few things. Then I'm going to get to the end and I'm going to say, hey, thanks for sharing that information. Based on the information, you would be a great fit because now you have all the information, right? Your goals and your pain and your situation align perfectly with who we serve. And it seems like the value proposition makes sense, right? You're making enough revenue per client that my investment to work with me, it's a no-brainer. Like it's a no-brainer. We 100% you're a good fit. Or if they're not, you can fully tell them, hey, you know what? Actually, you're not a fit for me, but let me refer you to Joe. Joe is the perfect person to solve the problem you're asking about. And then we create next steps. Let's get you on the calendar so that we can get you onboarded. I'm going to send you a contract so that you can go on board. Are there any other decision makers that need to come in? And now you're just closing deals. This moment of fire asking questions, really, people miss this opportunity. But this is where you can gather all the data you need quickly and validate, like, should we even waste our time? I don't want to waste your time. I respect you. Let me figure out if I can serve you properly. And if I can, I'll tell you. That's the moment we're trying to create. So if you have a hard consultative sale, I recommend you build this into your repertoire. And then you practice asking these questions in kind of that staccato, quick hit way where you're just gathering data. If you're doing it virtually, you don't even have to take notes. The AI can do it for you now. If you do it in person, typically I'll pull out a checklist and yes, no, shorthand so that we can deal with it and get you to close. All right. I just threw the whole world at you guys. If you're not overwhelmed, I probably didn't do my job. I hopefully gave you a lot to consider. What I'd recommend, because you probably have some notes in front of you or a lot of things to consider, is I'd recommend you take a second for the big three, little three. Look at the list in front of you. Look at all the stuff that you jotted down. And I want you to identify 3 very quick, small things you can implement today and circle them. So look at the list in front of you and circle 3 things that are quick to implement. New email template. You're going to add a free offer because you already have the book, right? What are 3 very quick to implement things you can do today? I'm going to change how I approach the next meeting. Circle 3 little things you're going to commit to. Again, these are the quick things. These should not feel overwhelming. These are the things I want you to be able to implement right this second. I mean, maybe not right this second because I'd like you to listen to me for another 18 minutes, but today you could implement. After you circle those 3, I want you to circle 3 more. And the 3 more I want you to circle are the things you can commit to getting done in the next 6 to 12 months. These are usually heavier lifts. Attending a trade show, booking more speaking engagements, doing more podcasts, creating more visibility or credibility in some way, shape, or form, adding a different offer to my stack, adjusting my price point somewhere, serving a different market. What are 3 bigger, heavier lift? Totally okay, but things that you can commit to over time and add them to your kind of next 2 or 3 quarter planning. So on your notes in front of you, wherever you're at, whether it's digital or whatever it is, you can highlight it. You should have 6 things highlighted, and you should identify the 3 quick ones so that you can win today, or again, win relatively quickly, and 3 bigger things that you can commit to. I'm going to pause for a second here. Does everyone have a few things circled where you feel like, look, like I can take some action? Seeing some head nod. Perfect. Okay. Anyone need more time to circle 3 things? All right. I'm seeing head nods, so we should be good there. All right. I do have an offer for you guys today, and then we'll go to Q&A with all the time that's left. Today's offer is I'm doing a ton of strategy sessions right now, and if you want help with any of the stuff you just circled, I'm happy to help. My approach to consulting is very different than most. I don't want you to be in a long-term contract. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to come into a 2-hour session. I want to identify the things you just circled, and I want you to help you solve them real time in 2 hours. We're going to deep dive. You don't need to do any prep. You could show up to the meeting. We're going to target your problems. I'm going to give you real strategies, real action items, maybe some Loom videos and follow-up to support you, and I will connect you to all the resources you need because I have access to them to help unlock whatever you're stuck with. Usually I charge $1,000. Today's bonus, or by the end of day tomorrow, is if you book a session, I will give you one additional follow-up hour to debrief and dig into whatever else you want. So we'll do a 2-hour session, plus you get a bonus hour. So you're going to save $500. And my only ask is you've got to book your session by the end of day tomorrow. I'm going to give you the link to book and the link to learn more. Drop those in the chat now. So the first link will let you learn more about strategy sessions. If you want to hear some testimonials and see some stuff, you can click around the site and do that. If you want to book your session, you can book using the second link. I will send you an invoice for the $1,000. My only ask is that you pay before the session. So even if you book into January or February or sometime further, it doesn't matter. I'll still honor the agreement and I'll send you an invoice. And my ask is that you pay before. So that's my offer. If you have questions about that, let me know. Here is all my contact information. If you want to connect with me on any platform or my email or join ACES, all those links are in there as well. And unless someone wants to see some random slide or go backwards, I'm happy to stop sharing my screen and we could just Q&A on anything and everything you guys want to talk about while you have me. Any questions? I see everyone scribbling down notes. That's all good.
I'll ask.
Can
you go back over the selling behind piece? I was listening and processing, and still I feel like I could hear it in another angle or some way.
100%. Yeah, Aubrey, definitely. So what this looks and feels like is, let's use Philip. I'm going to use you as an example because I did this to Philip, and so he could tell you about it. but I'll use Philip. So Philip's a coach, right? And he helps facilitate masterminds, brilliant strategist. And so when Philip said, "Hey, Devin, what do you do?" What I answered is, what I do is I work with coaches and mastermind hosts to help them build strategic relationships and become authorities in rooms where their competition's not, to generate more revenue. And how I do that is through strategy or opening doors. And so what I do is I define the person in front of me in the answer without saying, I work with people like you, because that doesn't create that ego moment. So that's the science of that answer, is you're trying to define the person in front of you without them really feeling like you just defined them, but just enough that they go, wait a second, that's me.
I like that. Okay, that clicked. Thank you.
Perfect. Yep. This is the number one tip I teach when people are booking a lot of meetings and not closing, because it's a good test to figure out if people really want to do business with you, because you've created enough authority and balance. So yeah, love that. What else? Any other questions? I'm happy to go back to slides, answer whatever you want. Sales, revenue, business. Nothing? No one's got questions? Everybody's overwhelmed? It's okay. Yes, William or Phil, whoever wants to go first. William can go first. We'll let you go first.
Yeah, so one of the things that we encourage our clients to do is to reach out to their current networks. As you mentioned, there's a lot of people that have a ton of followers, or they have a ton of people in their phone, or they have a ton of people that are kind of like following and maybe even consuming content, but they really don't have a way to kind of re-engage, or they haven't tried to reset those meetings. So just to kind of like piggyback on what you were talking about, that's also a great strategy, because it's really easy to just go through your first connections like on LinkedIn and be like, hey, we're connected, how can we maybe help each other out, and start taking and booking those meetings too. So it's not just about going out, right, and saying, hey, what's the next networking meeting, it might cost me a bunch of money, right, but then also utilizing and activating your current networks. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there. And then also, I really love what you said about not pitch slapping people, right? When they get on the phone with you, right? And so the very first thing that I get most of the time doing what I do, because I work in this space, I get smacked all the time with offers and people trying to sell me this and that and so on and so forth. So, kind of holding back, letting them show their cards and letting them kind of get that out allows you to really kind of get to who they are first, right? And I love to ask like personal questions when I'm getting to know somebody. Because of that, I want to get past the whole like sales part of it and get to the person so I can understand who they actually are. Because I do business with people, not with what they do, if that makes sense. So anyway,
100%,
great,
man. Yeah,
great
I
presentation. Yeah.
appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we use so on LinkedIn messaging, I use my check-in email template. I use that for re-engaging my LinkedIn contacts, and that's how we fill the calendar. Except typically when I do it and they raise their hand, I'm like, cool, come to a blitz. Like I'm too busy to do one-to-ones. And
Yeah.
I don't get a ton of pushback. People are like, cool, love to come hang out. And then I get pitched all the time too, same as you. People are always pitching something. And so I'll tell them in the response, look, I'm probably not a client for you, but I would bet that people in my network are. So I'm totally game to connect with you and learn more about what you do so we can figure out how we might be able to help each other. And so I try to set the intention prior to the meeting. And then when they get on the meeting, they typically try to control the meeting too. And I'll be like, look, that's great, but like let me ask some questions about you so that I can figure out how to connect some dots. And I try to take control. And what I find is that's typically when I convert people. And a lot of those salespeople end up in ACEs or they end up in our world. And then
Right.
they go, oh, this is actually better. Like I'm not sitting here having to quick close everybody all the time. So I
Right.
love that,
Right.
man.
Just breathing on
Yeah,
you with
love it.
permission breath, right?
Love
So
it.
Yeah. Phil, what do you got, man?
Oh yeah, so we're connecting with everybody here on LinkedIn. I'm wondering if you have a connection with someone that can help us with some of that automation on LinkedIn. Maybe setting up a series, whatever. Because if we connect with somebody, what we always forget to do is follow up, right? And I found that sometimes I'll follow up. Actually, the lady I signed up today, I followed up for 3 years, and she finally became a customer. So I'm always looking for those things. That you know, if you know somebody, I'd love that introduction.
Yeah, can you shoot me an email just because
Sure.
I'll be debriefing this? But yes, I also did an expert interview with him, David Bush. He's built a whole automation system for that. And then there's another tool. I'll send you two that you can explore.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, I have some coffee chats, follow networking, where they pitch straight away without even trying. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's very normal looking at that in the chat. It's very normal in a networking meeting for everyone to be throwing business cards at you because what we have to understand is most of the people you're going to come in contact with are taught the quick close, always be closing 7 no's and a yes and all these other things. And so that's how they're going to be approaching the situation. And it's okay. We just meet them there and love them, but then we take back control. So in all of these situations, I'm always looking for what is my path to take back control of this conversation, of this meeting, of the situation, so that I can move it the way it needs to be moved. And actually, I'm educating the person on how to do this better anyways. So hopefully there's a nugget there. Yeah, Philip, go ahead.
Yeah, what are you using as a note taker?
Yeah, so I use Fathom in my virtual ones. We actually integrate Fathom directly with High Level now. And so it's like even this meeting, as soon as this meeting's over, it will attach the meeting notes here with any of you that registered. Like it'll attach them straight to your contact in High Level. And then I will tell you that Zoom's AI notes have gotten infinitely better. So Zoom's note recap is really good, but that you have to control the meeting. It has to be your Zoom, whereas Fathom can go to people's meetings as long as they let it in. And so that's worked really well for me virtually.
Okay, good, because I have found that the Zoom is not as accurate. So thank you.
Yeah, I would say the Zoom is 60% accurate. Fathom is like 95. Like the action items from Fathom are like usually very close.
Good, thank you.
For sure. Yeah, what other questions? You guys got me for another 6 minutes. I'm happy to stay and just keep answering questions for everybody. If you have to hop off, for sure, hop off. It was great seeing you. Hopefully you got value. I will post more info on the next webinar, which I think we'll do a deep dive into the Cat Cafe and all the lessons learned on that business venture. That'll be a very fun one. What other questions? You guys got me? Happy to answer anything.
Happy belated birthday, Devin.
Oh, thank you so much. Much appreciated. We're heading to Disney with the family next week, so excited for that.
Woohoo!
It's my oldest birthday too, and she said she wanted to turn 21 at Disney. So that sounds like a win for all of us.
And
What else? What other questions?
what's
Yeah,
your
Heidi, go
favorite
ahead.
car for your birthday there? Your You said Matchbox cars, that's your thing?
Oh, it used to be. I used to have a huge collection. Yeah, I had like 10,000 Hot Wheels at one point.
That's crazy. Well, I just was
So,
thinking
yeah.
after you said to listen for people's birthdays and get them their favorite car. Sounds like you already have several of your favorites.
Yeah, if you want to surprise me with anything, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I'm a big Disney fan, and I'm a big golf fan. Anything in those worlds, super grateful.
Do you have tickets to Harry Potter next week?
No, because we're only doing Disney next week. We're not doing Universal.
No. Harry Potter's in town.
Oh, no.
The Philharmonic's doing.
Yeah, I saw it, but we won't be here because we're gonna be out of town all week.
Okay. Well, that
I
would have been
know.
fun to celebrate.
Well,
That's
Devin,
epic. I might
I've
actually
got to say, this has been absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
We're gonna get the Fathom recap, right?
Yeah, I'll send you a recap. So the webinar, I'll put it in Aces.
Yeah.
I'll put the whole transcript with all the timestamps. I'll put the slides in there.
Yeah.
And I'll grab the chat log as well. That'll go in a follow-up email so you guys get everyone's LinkedIns.
Okay, awesome.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll wrap up. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned
Awesome.
for the next one, and I'll see
I'll
you guys
in
inside
Connections
Aces.
tomorrow.
Perfect. We'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow.